Average at Best Cornhole here. I want to make a quick video discussing my favorite Airmail device that I own. I ain't gonna lie, this is the only Airmail device that I own, but I did do a lot of research before purchasing this, and I'm going to get into a lot more details with you. So I originally purchased this just to use at the events that I was hosting over the winter, for the Airmail challenge. But then I found out it was, better for a lot more after I was done hosting those events after the winter. And it actually turned out to be a really good practice tool for me. Going into the research I did, I didn't want to get one of those big boxes because I felt like they were probably just a little too easy to hit. The pots never really seemed to grow when I was at places that had those boxes. And then if I was going to go practice with it, it's almost like, you have such a large area there, you're not really focusing just on the hole. And I felt with just this little wooden rim, you'd be focusing on the hole. And then I know that there is those tubes that they have, and those are pretty popular for these Airmail competitions, but I didn't think that was going to be really good for practicing, because who's really aiming at a little black tube that you can barely see? I mean, that's really, in my mind, only good for these events. Plus, those things are, they don't weigh a lot. Like, they're not beefy enough. And I've went to places where people are using those and they got to take boards off of the courts and literally lay them on the back of that thing just so they can use it. And so if someone hits it with the bag, it's not going to fall over or be pushed back. And I felt that this was, a little bit beefier and then it was going to suit my needs better. And not to mention, it just looks cool because it was different than all the other things. And then it does have these great rubber feet on there, which actually works real well of keeping it still when you're on an indoor floor, like a tile floor or a wooden floor or something. I know you could probably see in these videos that, unfortunately, it was shifting and moving around a little bit on my rugs and the gravel. I did not notice that when the floor is like a solid floor that those rubber feet could stick to. It not only has those rubber feet, the base of it is actually 2 pieces of the 13-ply Baltic birch wood. It also has the 13-ply risers on it that kind of holds the tube in there. And like I said, this neat little ring there helps you focus on the hole, but yet you're still kind of looking at a board, if you're using it for practice. And you can see I've had bags hang up on this a little bit, not as much as you would with like one of those big boxes. But sometimes they do get hung up. But also, if you're off a little bit, you can see in the videos, it goes in a little bit and then it throws it out too. So it is like really realistic to a normal cornhole board when you're practicing those Airmails. When I first purchased this cannon, I played around with it a little bit, but I didn't want to be one of those guys, hosting an event on Friday night, taking this thing home and actually practicing on it throughout the week. I kind of felt like that was a jerk move, especially if my ticket get called. I actually have experience with the cannon, and that just didn't settle right with me. But since the winter's been over, I brought this home for the summer, and I have actually been using it. We've been playing some fun games with it. We really like to, remove one set of boards. So if you're playing partners against someone, 2 people throwing on one side, they can only throw Airmails. That's kind of fun. Another great thing about it is I talk a lot of times getting brand new bags. The best way for me after a soak to break them in is just practice Airmails. I feel like, the high arch, it's smacking the board, or you completely missing it, smacking the ground, is really going to soften up those fabrics. That's another place that this comes in handy, because everything is rounded, all the corners, just like you would expect on a pro set of cornhole boards. And plus, with this construction, I think that a miss, it's going to be a little bit more aggressive towards the bag when it's smacking these rounded corners and maybe then slamming down onto the board, or you hit it and it spits it out and it's not landing on the board, it's going straight to the ground. And that's really, really going to help, loosen up those fabrics for you. You can purchase these cannons at fluxcornhole.com. Another thing about them, I felt that they were priced pretty good. $145 for the standard, and then $160, I do believe, if you do want custom graphics on it. Now, this is the plain one. I purposely went with the plain one just because I wanted to add some of my decals to it, but They do have a lot of stock designs on the website too, so you're probably going to see something you like a little bit better than the plain one. I just like the simplicity of it. I just want to end this with, you're going to be average at something, be average at cornhole.